dead, 11 injured as lorry is swept away by floods. Dents on the road. The National and Transport Safety Authority introduces new rules to govern school buses on the roads. UDA party kicks off grassroots elections across parts of the country, marred with digital failure.
You're in safe pair of hands. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Let's get started. Now, the Kenya Red Cross team has rescued a total of 11 people who had been on board a lorry that was swept away at River Muswii in Sultan Hamud, Makueni County. This as the Red Cross rescued 4 people in the evening to an additional 7 that had been ferried away to safety earlier on. The 11 were part of a group of people who were inside the lorry when the tragedy happened on Friday afternoon. They have since been rushed to the Sultan Hamud Sub-County Hospital for treatment. 5 people have also been confirmed dead from the incident. Now, the incident comes as the government declared 70 people dead and thousands displaced following the ongoing heavy rainfall across the country. Right, and of course more details about that particular incident will continue to develop. Unfortunate incident that happened earlier on when that lorry that was carrying a couple of people on board was swept away. 5 people have been declared dead so far. 11 have been declared hospitalized, and so we'll keep tabs to see more details around that. Now, the Kenya Meteorological Department has issued a heavy rainfall advisory starting from Friday through to the weekend. In a statement, the Meteorological Department Director, Dr. David Gikungu, said high intensity of rainfall, which may be accompanied by floods, will be experienced in Rift Valley, Nairobi, Lake Victoria Basin, off the coast, among other areas in 46 counties. Now, he said the rains which have so far led to the loss of lives and property will intensify for 2 days and subside on Sunday. Counties set to be affected by the heavy rains include Nyandarua, Laikipia, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, Nairobi, Machakos, Kitui, Makueni, Homa Bay, Siaya, Migori, Busia, Kisii, Nyamira, Nandi, Kericho, Bomet, Vihiga, Bungoma, and Narok. Now to the precincts of Senate. In a bid to end the prolonged deadlock between the government and striking doctors, a joint parliamentary sitting on health on Friday summoned top officials, including Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha, Treasury CS Njuguna Ndungu, and Labour CS Florence Bor. But this was not to be, as they failed to appear before the Health Committee of the Senate.
Mothers and children. And Chair, it appears to me that perhaps the previous failures of these meetings is that it's not taken seriously. That's why meetings have been aborted. I could not imagine that COG could fail to attend such a meeting. Perhaps we need to interrogate our constitution, whether COG exists legally or is just a mere club. Number 2, the Ministry of Labor and Treasury with junior representation. Chair, how would you attend meetings in World Bank when your house is on fire? And all the excuses that we have had in these apologies, how can that be? So my submission, Chair, is that Parliament is the highest apex, is the highest institution on this land, and Kenyans are looking upon us to have some reprieve, to have some solution to them, to their crisis.
And these were the persons who were invited. I have not seen any of them here. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, the Chairperson, Council of Governors, the Chairperson, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, the Chairperson, Public Service, the Secretary General, Kenya Medical Practitioner and Dentist Union. I think I've seen that person here. The Secretary General, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers. I believe I've seen that person here. The Secretary General, Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers. I believe there was a gentleman who introduced himself. And Mr. Chairman, this Parliament, by the time a matter comes here, it means that there's a crisis in this country.
Now, the Kenya Medical Association of Kenya held their annual conference in Kisumu on reforms in healthcare with focus on quality, affordable, available, and accessible healthcare. The KMA have lamented over the poor manner in which the government has handled the situation of striking doctors. The association insists that the strike is a symptom of broken health systems.
We are here discussing transforming healthcare through policy, and we have many attendants, both doctors and non-doctors, because despite what is happening in the country, the conference is discussing the way forward for this country in the landscape of health.
Reforms in healthcare, and these reforms are basically targeting the delivery of quality healthcare to our people. It's the people of Kenyans that are looking at getting services that are quality, that are affordable, available, and accessible. And we gathered here so that we are able to look forward at this difficult time when actually health workers are on strike. It's not just the doctors that are on strike, but we have the clinical officers on strike, we have the laboratory technicians on strike. These people provide services to the Kenyan people. And it is quite sad how it's being handled.
Blocks have an issue. We really need to fix these building blocks so that we have a stable foundation that can then take us forward to carry that transformation. You can't transform a system that is broken. Fix it and transform it. I think that is the message we have. As far as the issue of human resource, we have to look at it and have a forward planning. The strike is not a cause of the problem in the health sector. The strike is a symptom of a broken health system.
Now, governors from Mount Kenya region have revived the push for the one man, one vote, 1 shilling campaign. This was clear when the Commission on Revenue Allocation, CRA, kick-started the collection of public views on the 4th revenue sharing formula between the national and county governments that will cover financial years 2025, 2026, and 2029-2030. Speaking at a roundtable meeting with the CRA commissioners at Nairobi's Movenpick Hotel, the governors insisted on a formula that speaks to the region's prowess for production, insisting that 3 earlier formulas have shortchanged the vote-rich region. Nyeri County Governor Mutahi Kahiga called on the CRA to allocate resources as per a region's contribution to the national cake as opposed to equal treatment at the table.
First and foremost, we have 47 counties. It's pointless to start speaking about sharing if any of those counties are not working. We must make sure, sit here and ask ourselves, for one county to be working in Kenya today, what is the minimum we must give every county across this country? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm a Kenyan. Yes. And if Kenya will develop, let us stop. You know, we are still working around the colonial mentalism. Can we ensure that we sit down as CRA and say, and I'm giving you, I have been a governor twice. The minimum you need for any county to be operational is 7 billion. Take that one, and even if you give 7 and don't give anything else, let them go and everybody will survive. So let's review that. What is the basic share for every county to be operational? Because CRA, in terms of equity and thinking about the future cake, must also incentivize those that are producing. Why are you not looking at that? If you want a bigger cake next year, we are only saying, so if you reduce Muranga's ability to produce coffee, Muranga's ability to produce avocado, what will happen to our GDP the year after? Those are questions we must ask. I may ask you just for a reason, because Kenya has a tendency of saying the central region has always been favored. Do you know how many people have jiggers in this region? Do you know how many of us are living in slums? Do you know how many of us are suffering? Do you know how many of us cannot access Medicare? Yet iko pale.
Mount Kenya political party leaders led by Jubilee Party Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni have rubbished the ongoing rumors being peddled over Limuru 3 meeting, where they say the meeting is to discuss matters affecting the economy of the region, but not political endorsements. Speaking in Ruaka, Kiambu County, the leaders resolved that the meeting will be for like-minded people, where they said all Mount Kenya political leaders are welcomed to attend the meeting to untangle the challenges affecting the region at large. Members from this committee have said the platform of the Limuru 3 will not discuss political affiliation, but discuss matters of regional development agenda.
Even how to talk to those.
The Limuru 3 conference, therefore, is a people-driven initiative to discuss matters affecting our people, socially, culturally, economically, and politically. The Limuru 3 meeting will be held at Limuru. And I repeat, the date will be on the 17th of May, 2024. Meeting here for a few weeks to deliberate on the issues most affecting our people. And together we have resolved to call a meeting of like-minded people called the Limuru 3. And of course we discuss the economy of our region, which is more important than anything else. We are talking about we being the producers of a big percentage of our GDP of this country from the region. We need to talk about it, how we can improve on it, and how effectively it should be used to serve our purpose.
So I want to say that Mount Kenya has a population of close to 20-something million people, and we will be having people coming from all the counties, na tutakuwa pale na tutaongea pamoja. This is a team preparing na mtaendelea kuona mengi, and we are talking about maneno ambayo inatukera sisi wote kama watu wa mlima, na sio kwa sababu sisi pia tukisuruhisha yale ambayo yanatukera, mtaona ya kwamba pia itakuwa tumeleta suruhu hata kwa mambo ambayo yanawakera wa Kenya wote. So it's not that we are meeting in exclusion or anything.
Raila Odinga this morning held talks with the High Commissioner of the United Kingdom to Kenya, Dr. Neil Wigan. The discussions took place at Odinga's current home and focused on prospects for the consolidation of bilateral and multilateral ties between Kenya and Africa and the United Kingdom. They also discussed Odinga's quest for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission and the organization's potential to unleash the continent's power through free trade, increased investment in peace and security, and infrastructure development. Odinga shared his vision and hopes that as chairman of the African Union Commission, he could help the continent embark on long-deferred dreams, including making River Nile navigable between the Atlantic Ocean and Lake Victoria, as was envisaged by former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and the realization of the Trans-Africa Highway, parts of which dates back to Cecil Rhodes.
So much.
Yeah.
Very good.
Now, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, are calling on the government to absorb 46,000 intern teachers on permanent and pensionable terms to comply with the law. KUPPET Deputy Secretary General Moses Nturima says following the court's judgment stopping the employment of intern teachers, the fate of teachers who are the backbone of junior secondary schools remains in limbo. KUPPET is also calling on the government to remit capitation to schools as soon as possible to ensure smooth operation as schools reopen next week.
Intern teachers are the backbone of JSS. If their contract remain in limbo, service delivered in GSS would be irreparably affected. KUPPET therefore calls for an immediate assurance to the intern teachers their contracts will be upgraded to permanent and pensionable terms, because if their contracts have been stayed by court, as we open the schools, the situation will be terrible for the learners. At the same time, schools are yet to receive their disbursement of free-day secondary education, better known as capitation funds. The 16 billion that was released in March this year still left big gaps in what is owned to schools. By the end of the first term, the institutions had received Kenya shillings 7,800 per learner instead of 11,122, which means the financial situation of our schools are in a very bad situation, and we are asking the government to move fast to release the funds. In high schools, Form 1 and 2 have not received the course books, which means what they have done in the first term of this year was just guesswork. So you can imagine how the level of
The United Democratic Alliance Party grassroots elections have taken place in 5 counties. In Nairobi, voters flocked to various polling stations to vote for their preferred candidates. At Bidii polling station, Harambe Ward, voting went on, but there were issues like voting starting late, aspirants and voters not having their names in the system, hence being unable to vote, and also confusion and disorder. Other polling stations in the ward also experienced delays, and in some, there was very too little, no activity.
Ticket direct. Sasa bado niko kwa ground, bado napigana na hakuna mtu amewahi nipatia kazi. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba nauliza president wetu William Samoei Ruto aingilie kati katika hii chama zetu. Tusije kulete watu wale hawako patriotic kwetu, kwa sababu tukifanya hii tutaendelea kuwa na mashida nyingi kwa chama. Na hapa Harambe Ward and especially Makadara, hapa ni mahali ya opposition. Na mjue sasa hapa ikiwa mahali ya opposition, tunapigwa vita nyingi kando kando. Hatusemi ati watu ni wabaya, tunataka watu waingie kwa chama. Lakini kuingia si kuja kusukuma sisi.
Hapa Harambe Ward sikura genuine. Nasema tunataka kitendeke site kwa Bidii Primary School, so Manjeru ndio tunachagua, na ndio kwanza amefaitia chama about 10 years ago. Bila yeye hatungeja kanyaga kwa Ruto hivi. Tukiwa Karen, hatuwezi sahau mama utupeleka kwa Ruto. Na tukasema na Ruto na kuletea basha yetu.
Tuko mama karibu 100 na tumejitolea tukachata makazi, tunakuja kuchagua na tuoni majina zetu. Tukiangalia kwa system na tuoni majina zetu. Na tulikuwa tumerejestio na tuoni majina zetu.
Sasa tuko Bidii, tumepiga kura hapa Bidii, lakini kumekuwa na shida kidogo, itilafu kidogo ya system zinatufail. Kuna watu wengi wanakuja wanatafuta majina zao wanakosa kwa system. but all in all shughuli imerun smooth.
Angalie jinsi vile kura inapigwa huku Homa Bay, alafu nielekee kule Busia, alafu tumalizie kule West Pokot. Na nimefurahishwa sana na ile jinsi vile watu wamejitokeza kwa wingi kupiga kura. Nimekuja hapa kwa kituo hapa Kibiri Ward, kituo inaitwa Omolo Agar.
Yes.
Na nimepata kwamba mpaka sasa hivi kituo kilifunguliwa wakati ambapo tulitarajia kituo kifunguliwe saa 3, na mpaka sasa hivi watu 180 wameshapiga kura hapa katika kituo hiki.
Now, employees of the Matatu sector in Nanyuki visited prisoners at Nanyuki prison and gave them some important items for use, both for men and women. Now, the warden of the Nanyuki prison, Martin Okoko, has called on the staff of the whole community to visit the prisoners more and more to ensure that they are still being protected, while hoping to receive the prisoners well after they finish serving their sentences. Now, the chairperson of the Matatu sector in the city, Nanyuki Mwaniki Wagishere, has said that they have reached this stage after realizing that there are some prisoners who have been abandoned by their families, and they also need to be shown support, love, especially during this lonely period that comes with serving in prison.
Hii hatuwezi fanya sisi peke yetu. Nashukuru sana kwa niaba ya serikali kuchukua wakati huu kuwashukuru hii kikundi ambacho ni cha watu wa Matatu cha Nanyuki kwa kuja kutembelea mandugu zetu na madada zetu. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu tunajua sisi kama serikali hatuwezi fanya kazi ya urekebishaji sisi peke yetu. Tunahitaji partners kama nyinyi na wengine wote wajifunze kwa nyinyi ili waje kupartner sisi, kuencourage na kuendelea kuwa tayari kuwapokea mandugu zetu na madada zetu, manake walitoka katika jamii na watarudi kwa hiyo jamii.
Leo tulikuwa hapa prison ya Nanyuki na tulikuja kuleta vitu mingi tukiwa tumezanya, tukiwa watu wote wa stage, kwa sababu tunajua wale wako hapa jela ni madugu wetu, ni madada wetu, na ni lazima tungeshikana sisi wote tujue zile shida wako nazo, na ndiye mkubwa hapa akatukubalia na tumeleta vitu na tukawaambia tutaendelea na kutembelea hii area.
Na ni kweli tukajiuliza mahali tulikuwa tumeketi ni boma gani haijaikuwa na mtu hajaingia jela. Tukaona ni kweli hata sisi venye wengine watu hajaingia jela, lakini kwa boma zetu hatuwezi kosa mtu mwenye ashaingia jela. Tukawasema tukuje tuonyeshe love na tuonyeshe upendo na waonekane hata wakitoka hapa watakubalika. Ni kweli leo tumeshiriki na wao, hata kama tujaifungwa tumesoma mengi na tumeona ni kweli ni watu wanashughulikiwa hapo especially hapa Nanyuki, na tumeona ni watu wamefurahi.
Watu wasione kama wafungwa ni watu wamekataliwa katika nchi, ni watoto wetu, ni madada zetu, ni madugu zetu. Kwa hivyo tuwe tukiwatembelea kama watu wa nchi, ndio tuwaonyeshe hiyo upendo na tuwaonyeshe wakibadilika. Wakikuja huku kwetu nyumbani tutawapatia kazi. Kama kazi ziko tutawaajiri.
Watching ABN TV, transforming your world.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the surge in road accidents has reached an unprecedented peak since the start of the year. surpassing previous year's figures for the same period. Now, with recklessness being cited as a major cause in most incidents, the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, has introduced a comprehensive set of rules and regulations aimed primarily at safeguarding students and other road users. Consolata Chibalonza reports.
That is the reason. The reason you have failed to transport children safely from point A to B, that we have to have a sub-regulation out of the Traffic Act.
The National Transport and Safety Authority conducted a public participation forum on the draft NTSA Operation of Commercial Services Vehicle Regulations 2024 and the draft Traffic School Transport Rules 2024. The forum, which was attended by various transport stakeholders including the Truckers Association of Kenya, Motorists Association of Kenya, as well as members of the public, intended to capture the views on a proposed Traffic Act touching on school transportation as well as commercial service vehicle regulations.
Here today at Utalii, we have received many comments in regards of how to improve. The positive news is that each and every one of them sees the need to have commercial vehicle regulations, school transport regulations, to be able to see the safe passage of us on our roads. As we are here today, as you can see, we are blessed with the rains from our great God and our Lord, and we ask all motorists and we urge them to be safe as we go along.
So the issues we as motorists or vehicle owners we have is that what we don't want is the regulations that are coming, being turned, road safety being turned into a revenue generation. So we want road safety that is not exploiting the vehicle owner.
According to Cap 403 of the Traffic Act, before a driver is issued with a license, needs to be tested, assessed to ensure that his or her health is up to date. Otherwise, we are licensing people who are blind, we are licensing people who have a hearing problem, we're licensing people who have hypertension and so on.
All driving schools should be examined because they are not using the right materials to train drivers when they go up for driving. You'll find most of the driving schools are using 3-tonnage vehicles to train drivers to train heavy commercial vehicles, and they are licensed to drive the heavy commercial vehicles, which is very dangerous.
The Traffic School Transport Rules provides that school transport providers in school vehicles are to be licensed. The holder of a school transport provider license shall not operate a school vehicle without a valid school vehicle road license for each vehicle issued by the authority. A school transport provider license and a school vehicle road license issued under these rules shall be valid for a period of 1 year from the date of issue and may be renewed for a similar period. The authority may suspend or revoke a school transport provider license or a school vehicle road license issued under these rules upon a breach of the conditions and or requirements of the Act and these rules. The school transport providers are also obligated to ensure all vehicles have valid comprehensive insurance cover, to ensure the employment of qualified drivers and school vehicle attendants if applicable as per these rules. They should also ensure the vehicle is properly maintained and serviced and kept a record of the maintenance and service records for the last 2 years. A school transport provider shall develop and adopt a school transport operations policy. For institutional school providers, the school management may designate a person to be a crossing guard or crosswalk attendant for purposes of directing, controlling, and managing traffic at the areas of entry into or exit from a school or at areas designated as pedestrian crossings. As for the school vehicle, each school vehicle shall have a comprehensive insurance cover. Each school vehicle shall be inspected biannually. For school vehicles transporting elementary students, employ a school vehicle attendant and be equipped with a stop sign for use by the attendant. It must be fitted with functional safety belts designed to be used by children, be painted yellow in color code FFD 800, have at least one fire extinguisher conforming to the applicable standard issued certified by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, approved type is readily accessible and available for use on board the vehicle, which should be maintained in good and efficient working order, and that the extinguisher is not yet expired. The school must be fitted dual red light indicators on the uppermost part of the front and rear sides of the bus. The school vehicle must have the vehicle printed the words school bus on both sides and the words do not pass when red lights are flashing at the rear in block letters at least 8 inches in black color. It should be installed with stop signal arms on the front and rear right hand side. Have installed mirrors that enable the driver to have adequate visibility of the sides, rear and along both sides of the bus. All the school vehicles shall be fitted with a vehicular telematic system conforming to the applicable Kenyan standard approved by KEBS.
Too much that has been said and very basic was being done.
Consolata Chibalonza, ABN TV.
All right, thank you, Chibalonza, for that report. Now, with only 2 days remaining for schools to reopen, Nyakach Constituency Office has assured residents that they have put the necessary measures to ensure learning kicks off despite the ongoing heavy rains and flooding in the region. Nyakach Constituency CDF Manager Sylvans Ochola said that they are keenly monitoring the situation and that there are families seeking refuge within the school compounds in central, north and west Nyakach being adversely affected. According to the Nyakach Sub-County Director of Education, Mr. Jackton Gangre, they are consulting to see that rescue centers within schools are well coordinated so as not to interfere with the school reopening and learning by the end of the week.
We are monitoring the situation keenly insofar as the intense rainfall that is ongoing within the region and particularly in Nyakach, where we have West Nyakach normally adversely affected, Central Nyakach and North Nyakach. And we know some of our schools are even being used as rescuing camps or evacuation camps for that matter. So the area member of parliament, the generality of CDF and Mheshimiwa's team, we are monitoring the situation keenly, and we have already started to contact various stakeholders to see how we can arrest the situation. Insofar as the access roads are concerned, we are looking into the ones that we normally do with the carer, and I think the engineers will be already around on the ground monitoring. So I want to say that there's already a multi-stakeholders approach that we are looking into it, some that will address infrastructure challenges, some that will address humanitarian needs, food, medical equipment and medical supplies, etc., etc. But as you can see, it is countrywide, and we are looking at it locally and regionally at the county level, at the sub-county level, to see what best we can do, working very closely with the DCC's office and also the Director of Education at the sub-county level.
Our schools are opening next week. We're aware some of our schools are being used as rescue centers. We're already in consultation with the office of the DCC so that we are able to make arrangements before the schools open. At least by weekend, we'll be able to have the data and statistics to ensure that our schools remain safe for our learners, as the community are also relocated to safe places where they can also be able to be accommodated.
But we are also asking our people to be responsive at that level so that we move to safer grounds, and also good neighborliness. People can move to their relatives and people can move to schools where they can be helped easily. Let us not wait to make the situation even worse by ourselves.
Residents from Ikolomani constituency have come out strongly to condemn remarks made by Kakamega Senator Boni Khalwale, urging gold mining company Shanta to vacate the area immediately, claiming they are forcing residents to migrate. During a meeting that brought together gold miners from the area in the village of Isulu, leaders led by Jimmy Makotsi described Khalwale's sentiments as political rather than developmental, asking them to separate politics from development. They accuse him of using provocative language, alleging that the investor aims at displacing several families to make way for the company to continue its activities.
People who are around this area are going to be evicted so that the miners can come and start their mining, which was a lie. It was a pure propaganda, and I think all members ilikuwa propaganda, sio? Yeah. So we are now telling the senator to desist, or the senator and the area MCA to desist from lying people about the gold mining. And the residents of this area, I think we have unanimously agreed that the Shianda Gold Company can come and mine, sindio?
Yes. Mwekezaji amekubali ya kwamba ile mine ambayo ataweka hapa itakuwa ni underground mine. Itakuwa na shaft ya kwenda chini, alafu kutembea hapo chini itakuwa na vents za kuelekea kwenye mawe tofauti ambayo iko na dhahabu. Na hakuna mtu yeyote ambaye atahamishwa kutoka Ikolomani apelekwe pahali pengine kwa sababu nafasi inahitajika kujenga mine. So what the senator was discussing was a matter that had already been canvassed and agreed upon by the member of parliament. If the senator had political issues to discuss, that is his own business. But we would like that development issues be divorced from political issues, and that the development issues program that has been agreed upon be allowed to proceed.
Kuna wale ambao hawataki shanta wenye wako na investors wengine. Sasa hao watu wenye wako na investors wengine ndio wanaeneza uvumbi kwa watu wetu wakisema ya kwamba shanta wanawahamisha, shanta hawatuhamishi, shanta tumekubaliana nao watafanya kazi, sisi kama tuko kwa ground.
Hawataki kuhamishwa. Na mimi kama kiongozi yao ninasema never until you convince me, and you don't have the capacity to convince me whoever you are. No person in Isuha, no person in Urambi, no person in Ikolomani can ever be moved for whatever reason.
All right, that is where we wrap it up tonight. Thank you very much for your lovely company. I'd love to wish you a fantastic weekend ahead. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Have a blessed night.